everybody, Chris Titus. We're looking at the Chip Foose 1956 Continental. I want you to say that if you've ever wet sanded a car, this is your nightmare. I have never seen more footage, more mileage that needed to be sanded and straightened out than this car. You've taken something that doesn't get done, a big monster like this, and nobody shows up with this. Everybody's a 32, 34. Explain why this happened like this, because it's so amazing.
Well, Pat and Linda Velasco,
Right.
they bought 4 of these Continentals to do a restoration on one of them. And I was back there at their shop, and I was talking to them because Pat and Linda have their own shop where they have a museum and they're restoring cars. They're putting them back to all original.
Right.
And this was one of the parts cars that he had behind the shop. And he says, if I send that to you, will you make a hot rod out of it? Definitely.
That's a dumb question to
And then
ask
he
you.
says, what if we make it a convertible? I said, we can do that. And we started talking about the price. He says, don't put a folding top on it, just make it a full-time roadster. This does have side glass, so you really have to call it a convertible.
Right.
But it's kind of a roadster.
Does it have rear side glass too?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's got side glass, rear quarter glass, but there's no top. We could easily build a lift-off top for it.
Which why I loved them on 56.
Yeah.
I loved it. You could, I still think that's a possibility, right?
It is a possibility.
Right, because I think that would make the car. The problem with a full-time convertible with no top is you limit yourself.
Right.
If you have something you can drop on this and what you design, yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
So the initial thought when you look at the car is there's no top. But starting from the front, we did some very, very subtle modifications.
Right.
Number one is the headlights. On the stock Continental, the headlight looks almost flat.
Yep.
So I dropped it a 1/2 inch and I pulled it back 5/8 of an inch.
Ah, that's wicked.
We got rid of the Nerf bars on the front bumper.
Right.
And
Cleans it up.
And we tailor fit the bumper. We pulled these back 3/4 of an inch, and then what we ended up doing, when you cut that away and you pull it back, you end up, this is wider, so we tapered the bumper, and then we pulled the sides in so it's almost flush with the fender. I like it where it still comes out a little bit, not just perfectly flat. I want a little bump so it looks like this is the way it could have been built at the factory.
Well, that's the great thing about what you do. Like just the way that tapers and the way this bumper now tapers. That used to be flat.
No. It had a little, but it was out here.
Oh God.
So it had that. So we had to taper it in a little bit more, but I wanted to push the whole bumper in.
And
so
you
we got it.
And you tucked it back, and then
Yes.
And then the gaps. I mean, it's crazy. Your bumper gaps are insane.
Well, you want to make everything look good.
All I see is work. But
then,
by the way, at the end, it's beautiful.
Well, thank you. This little piece is a stock piece on the car. We actually welded that together and then extended it to cover over the radiator. And then
Which
we've got
cleans it up.
the Blueprint engine LS3, but we put the stock air cleaner, we narrowed it up so it would fit under the hood, and the valve covers cover up the coil packs, but then we custom built this exhaust system with MagnaFlow to look like the original manifolds on the engine.
So you basically took the Blueprint motors. By the way, Blueprint makes just like, it's stunning what the work they do, and you made it. You took the new motor.
Yes.
And made it
look old.
like old. That's.
Yes.
And I
Now,
love the flat. I like that you like the subtle change, and just from the inside to the outside, like the engine bay is just flat. It's just satin.
And the
green.
fender line that's coming over the wheel well here,
Right.
this normally comes out and it gets really fat in front of it and then drops down. Well, we pulled that back so that it would look like it's just following the fender line. I liked it better. It's
Way better.
cleaner.
Way better.
Thank you.
It also changes. I have a question. So if these
Yes.
guys, all these car companies, these car designers, right? Why wouldn't they just do that stock? Because the stamping would be the same, right? It's costing. I mean, you know, why?
It would be the same.
So they just don't have your vision.
It was a choice they made.
Yeah.
So then you come up here, we hand built all the moldings around here, but we also eliminated the wipers. So it just cleaned it up. Now when we cut the top off, we had to build all these moldings and finish the top of the header here.
Right.
Because none of that, you know, when you cut it off, it's just, there's nothing there.
Yeah, it's open, right?
So we finished that up. We kept the wind wings, but then built this little piece so it would be flush, because the wind wings drop down normally. Now we use a 64 Thunderbird. The rear section that goes around the back seat, that wraparound rear seat,
Right.
and we used that and then extended it to fill up that gap where the top used to be. I wanted it to look like, it could have been stock, but that's all 64 Thunderbird. The rear springs we used, but we built the bottom cushion, and we hand built the steering wheel. It's a smaller diameter than the stock one, and then we hand built all the gauges to look like they were the original gauges.
What I love about what you did is, like, again, it would be so easy to smooth it out. Just smooth it all out, ultra modernize the gauges and do everything. That you took a stock steering wheel and shrunk it, and you did all the chrome, and like, I love all this, like the chrome and the metal still in it.
Thank you.
It never, like, if you didn't know, you would go, this is how it came stock.
Exactly.
That's what I love. You can tell on some of these other cars.
The other thing the Continental did is they wrapped the dash in leather. I didn't want to wrap it. I wanted to bring the body color into the interior.
Like old school
So we
metal,
painted that, but we pulled this leather because I love the contrast between the metallic paint and the similar green. You can catch that green in some of the flop, the cast. You can lay that leather on this paint, walk around, and at one view, that leather will completely disappear. Right. The other thing is I changed the door handles. Mm-hmm. These are 53 to 56 Ford F100 pickup door handles. They have that, the stock one is really square.
Yeah.
And I wanted the same thing we did with the headlights, that lead off
just
into
give
that radius.
Yeah.
It does the same thing on both ends of the door handle.
Just give it some curve.
I thought it worked with the car, and that's why I chose it.
They look perfect. Again, you couldn't tell. If you didn't know, you go, yeah, that's how it came.
Yep. Now, the bottom door cut, the lower rear corner, those are normally square. I radiused that, which I also did in the deck lid.
Which old school customizing.
We put a radius there, and we slightly radiused the hood forward. And the reason I did that is the stock Continental, when you lift the hood, it comes really close to the fender, and when it's up, if you hit it, it can actually hit the fenders and create a chip. Now here, where the body line comes up, that's stock. But the fender line used to drop down, and it looked really fat here, just like the front. So when I eliminated that, I wanted to lighten this up. So I pulled that radius up just a slight bit to lighten up that rear wheel well.
That's why the wheels look so good. So you just opened up the fender a little bit.
Just a little bit. And then,
that's interesting.
And then I took the original wheel design, and from that was the inspiration to create these wheels. It's stunning, and no one would, like, who would take this car and do this to it? It's amazing. Well, the lower rockers are all handmade.
Right.
And normally they just apply on the lower rocker, but we cut the rockers out and pulled them in a little bit, so these actually wrap the corner. So when you look at the edge,
oh wow,
it's split, and then it's chrome on the bottom, so it wraps around the corner as well.
I'm always stunned at your details. I'm always stunned at your details. All right, so I know, just being around you long enough and building enough, can't be stock. This is too sexy to be a factory piece.
Now this piece normally sticks up almost 3 inches higher.
Right.
And
more of a canker sore.
When you have a
stock,
coupe, they still look big even when it's a coupe.
Right.
But when you cut the top off, this looks ridiculous being that high. So we cut all of that.
Looked like a tombstone.
Recreated this, dropped it down to make it a little more subtle, and I think it looks elegant now. But it still carried that original theme.
You didn't just drop it down. You actually, this is reshaped. This is all reshaped. Like, just the curves in this. Like, you really made this big chunk of car kind of sexy.
Well, thank you.
That's tough. That's a hard thing to do.
Again, the bumpers are tucked. We pulled the rear corner, had to rewrap it, and then pull it in so it matches the front bumper.
Right.
And then the other thing we did is, if you eyeball down the line of the taillight itself,
right,
to the bumper line,
oh wow,
those are normally, they're a ½ inch off.
But that's what I get. I don't understand why. Like,
I don't know why they didn't line them up from the factory either.
Like, were they letting guys like me design cars in the 50s?
So we pulled the quarter back and shortened the bumper so we could get that one nice line.
So this car wasn't just something like a simple 32. This car has so much going on, so many lines, so many different cuts, so many like shapes, like that you made it like this cohesive, which should have been done at the factory.
Well, as I said before, I didn't want to do something to this car that just slaps people in the face. Look at what we did.
Right.
You have to look at this car. My goal was for somebody to walk up and say, I don't remember this car being this beautiful.
No one does.
You have to discover what was done. And without another one next to it, you don't know what's done to it. I have to tell you what's done to it, but if we put it next to another one, then you can see the reference and then you would understand, wow, they did this, they did this, they did this, in order to make it a beautiful car.
Why this color?
The gauges, they're almost the stock color now.
Right.
They were a brushed, finished green tone. This car was originally going to go green, and when I looked at the stock color of the gauge, I thought, that's what we need to use, and I used that as the palette, but we recreated all the gauges, and then I hand painted those, and then Shannon at Redline Gauges did all the new numbers, but we spun the aluminum, I painted that candy green, and then I just took a 5-gallon bucket, dumped 3 gallons of silver in there, and started dumping in toners and just mixing it.
So you basically mixed it like you were like mixing like doing mash in a still. You just put a
I'd mixed it, and then I'd look at the color. I'd come back into the shop the next day and say, it needs a little more gray. So you add a little bit of black and maybe a little bit more silver. And it was, originally it was really a pure green. And I thought, no, it needs to be less and less. And Kathleen, my wife, who's an interior designer, she kept saying, needs to be more gray, needs to be more gray. And she was right. And I actually worked with her, and we made this color together.
Can I say something about why you do this, why you're the best at this? So there's been guys in the past who, and I'm not going to name any names, who were great managers. They would actually hire great people. And because they hired great people, they would produce really good cars, right? Mm-hmm. But they always took credit for it, and it wasn't them.
That's true.
Not only are you a great manager, you've got a great crew. PD, all the guys I know are great. You're mixing the paint, you're cutting the body. I've watched you weld. That you can do it all has got to like really give people a lot of stress.
Well, if you look at these signs,
yep,
it says team.
Yep, hell yeah.
Without all those people, this doesn't happen.
Right.
And I thank every single one of them, because not only do we build a car, but we build relationships when we work together. And I have a lot of great friends that help me to build these cars.
Right. But yes, and you always give credit where credit's due, and you're a team. Everybody that I know at your shop, everybody that you farm stuff out to, are phenomenal. However, nobody has this vision. This is crazy.
Well, thanks. It's,
you're welcome.
you know, usually what you see is a customizer wants to do something that's so bold that it's going to stand out and be like, wow.
Right.
But that's what makes it trendy and makes it date. If you let it just be subtle, it becomes elegant and it becomes timeless. My goal is for this car, let's just say 50 years from now, the car still looks beautiful, but it needs to be redone. The ultimate compliment to me is if another team comes together to restore what our team built. That would be the ultimate compliment.
There's never been a prettier 56, man. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Really beautiful. I'm gonna go feel bad about myself now.